I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round. When you look back at Bud Crawford's career, there is something really special.
There's nothing to do, but damn, like, what else do you gotta do? He's a three-time undisputed champion.
You looking small? What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small? Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude to turn him away and to try to stop him from doing what he want to do. So, skillful, yes. But this and this.
Fighters feared Terence Crawford for many strong reasons. Roy Jones Jr. even said that Canelo looked uneasy just standing across from him during their face-off. What makes Crawford scary isn't only his skills, but also the calm way he studies every move. He almost never takes a clean shot, and he punishes mistakes with perfect timing, leaving opponents feeling like there's no way to beat him.
In that stare down that we talked about, when I told you either he's not ready for this or he trying to little boy Bud, he wasn't trying to little boy Bud. He really was afraid, well, not afraid, but he was worried about Bud. And Bud knew that. And Bud being the older guy, Bud kind of looked him in his eye and made him turn away first. That was a victory for Bud. That was Bud's first victory. Anytime that happens, if something else don't come around or something else don't happen to undo that, you got a problem.
Ali Malik Najee explained how Crawford has built one of the most impressive careers in boxing. He became undisputed champion in 3 different divisions, something almost no one achieves today. And he did it by fighting the toughest names, not taking easy matches. What amazed Paulie most wasn't just Crawford's victories, but how he rarely got hit clean while dominating everyone. His record says it all: 41 wins, 31 knockouts, and no losses. Paulie called this run historic and said Crawford's win over Canelo wasn't just another fight. It felt like the start of a new era, just like when Floyd Mayweather once ruled. In his eyes, Crawford is now the defining fighter of this generation.
Flawless. I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round. When you look back at Bud Crawford's career, there is something really special. It's one of those things now, because now I've now seen back-to-back generations of Floyd Mayweather and Bud Crawford, and man, you know, it's one of those things where now I understand why the people that lived in the Ray Leonard era say, you know, wish we could see Ray Leonard against Mayweather and how that would be. Because it just leaves such an empty feeling when you have such special fighters that were in different generations, and you saw both of them. You know, I saw the entirety of the Mayweather generation. I saw the entirety of the Bud Crawford generation. Just incredible. Really, really incredible. And I know Mayweather gets a lot of hate, but for me, he's a tremendous fighter. And Terence Bud Crawford is in that realm as well, and it's a fight we'll never get to see. So what are we gonna do? You know, it'll be up to the fantasy fights, you know. But let's get into it, man. I want to get into the undercard as well and some of my thoughts on the Netflix show. But let's get into the main event first. Crawford really boxed very, very well, very, very intelligently. The question mark was what happens when Crawford gets hit cleanly. I'm not sure he got hit cleanly at the whole fight. You know, he got hit with some partial shots. Some shots landed cleanly, but by the time Canelo started landing anything cleanly, I think he was hesitant because he was getting countered so much that he was taking some of the steam off the shots in order to hope to be more accurate. Because even late in the fight, there were a couple of shots that Canelo landed, but they barely moved.
Bryant said watching Crawford against Canelo was special because he showed a rare balance of defense and offense. Most fighters are good at one and weaker at the other, but Crawford was sharp in both. Against Canelo, he blocked and dodged attacks with ease, then instantly switched to offense whenever there was an opening. Bryant pointed out that this complete style is what separates Crawford from many champions. He can shut down an opponent's weapons while building his own attack. For him, it was amazing to see a fighter not only avoid damage, but also dominate an elite opponent with calmness and skill.
See, I think that for me, I watch defense as much as I watch offense. So, yeah, like I thought, like watching Bud catch those shots off his glove.
He looked amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah. He'd go to a body and he'd catch that and come up with an uppercut. You know, just all those things that seem...
He looked great.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that to ever.
No one has. Yeah, he's the best.
Canelo. Ever.
Yeah, he's the best.
And I think he would do that to Canelo on his best day. Canelo said it, he goes, I couldn't figure him out.
No.
Which is why he probably won't fight him again. In a way.
They'll fight again.
You think so?
The payday, yeah. But so you're gonna get Canelo because the money's in Canelo Crawford, the rematch. I don't want to see it, but I want Crawford to get paid, so might as well do it.
Andre Ward praised Crawford, saying he's the most skillful fighter of his time. Ward, known for his own technical mastery, said Crawford's mindset is what sets him apart. If Terence decides to achieve something, he'll do whatever it takes. Ward explained that the only way to beat Crawford is to truly hurt him, because tricks or strategies won't work. His ability to switch stances, adapt, and stay sharp under pressure makes him one of the rare fighters who can always impose his will. Ward's words prove that Crawford's success isn't luck, it comes from determination, toughness, and non-stop dedication to winning.
Somebody that, like, I can bet the house on, it's Bud.
Who's the most skilled fighter today?
Bud is definitely one of them, for sure. Me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like, soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing about basketball, wrestling, anything, bro. Like, man, you can't, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude to turn him away and to try to stop him from doing what he wanna do. So, skillful, yes. But this and this, it's different, man.
Crawford's journey is also shaped by his family. He often remembers how his father predicted he would one day be an undisputed champion, planting belief in him early. But his mother wasn't convinced and doubted he'd make it to the top. Instead of discouraging him, that doubt pushed him harder. Every time he entered the ring, he carried the desire to prove her wrong. With every victory and every title, he not only fulfilled his father's vision, but also earned his mother's pride. Today, he looks back with satisfaction, knowing his success brought both respect and validation from his family.
My dad used to tell my mom I was gonna be a world champ.
I told him we would be.
How'd that make you feel? It filled me with rage. And every time I step foot in the ring or anything that I ever did, I just wanted to win so bad so I can prove a point to her.
I paid the kids, I said, if y'all can whoop Bud, I give y'all $10 a piece.
You went out on the street.
Yeah.
What's now Bud Crawford Street.
Yeah.
And offered $10 to anyone who can kick my son's butt.
Yep.
And a lot of takers.
Yeah, the kids in the neighborhood. Couldn't nobody whoop them.
What did he tell you then?
He told you, Mom, I told you I'm the best.
When asked about his career choices, Crawford explained that he never aimed to be undisputed at 154 pounds because he didn't see enough tough competition there. For him, being undisputed isn't just about collecting belts, it's about beating the best fighters available. Instead of staying at 154, he boldly chose to move up to 168, where bigger names and tougher challenges could build his legacy even more. By refusing to move down, Crawford showed his confidence in testing himself at higher weights, proving that his career is built on risk-taking and ambition, not comfort or easy wins.
Has being undisputed at 154 ever crossed your mind at this point that you at in your career?
Not at all, because I'm looking at the landscape of the 154-pound division. There's a lot of great fighters, but there's not a lot of defining fights at 154. There's not a lot of legacy fights at 154. You know, when I'm looking at the landscape of 154, I beat, what's his name?
Manjmo?
No,
154?
No. The champion that just knocked out Tim Tszyu.
Oh, Bachram. Yeah.
Okay, so Bachram, they're gonna say, who is Bachram?
Facts.
He knocked out Tim Tszyu that already had losses.
I would put you down with Fedora, though. They're gonna...
But Fedora already been knocked out.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, sure.
So, along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments just off of pure hate.
Crawford has also taken moments to proudly display his belts, not as empty bragging, but as proof of the years of sacrifice and discipline behind them. Each title represents not only a win, but the struggles he overcame to earn it. For Crawford, standing with those belts is a reminder to fans and critics alike that nothing was given to him. He fought hard for every piece of gold. They symbolize his dedication, his belief in himself, and his journey from doubt to greatness. Two young fighters, they serve as inspiration that success comes through resilience and relentless work.
Just reflecting on all my accomplishments at my mama house. That's where all my belts at. You know, hard work, dedication. Things that y'all favorite fighters, some of them, went down. So I see why y'all mad. I see why y'all mad. We look at that one right there. This where it all started at. Right here. This one. In Texas. In Texas, baby. Don't hate. Just congratulate.
Virgil Ortiz Jr., a rising star, gave huge credit to Crawford after his last fight, calling his performance absolutely beautiful. Ortiz said that Crawford has already proven everything and doesn't need to chase any more big names to confirm his greatness. In his eyes, Crawford's legacy is already secure. He has done enough to be remembered as one of the best ever. Coming from a hungry young fighter, this respect shows just how deeply Crawford's dominance has impacted the next generation, leaving them amazed by all that he's already achieved.
Perfect fight, actually. He neutralized all of Canelo's strengths. He knew that he was gonna look for the right hook, because I believe that they've been looking at Crawford being hurt by that right hook before. So he neutralized it. He used his jab really well. He boxed beautifully. And man, I mean, he did everything right. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Crawford first, because obviously we can get to Canelo later. But in the post-fight, they asked him, a media member asked him if he'd come back down to 154 to fight Boots. Obviously, in the same token, I took it as, all right, Boots or Virgil, right? And he said he's not coming back down to 154. What are your thoughts on him not coming down, and what do you think he will more than likely do next?
I don't know what he's gonna do. I did read something that said he'll go down to 160, you know, and I think that is definitely a possibility, and you know, that fight can still happen at 160. And as far as what he's gonna do now, I mean, I don't know. He kind of beat the final boss of the game, you know what I mean? There's kind of nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing to do, but damn, like, I mean, what else do you gotta do? He's a 3-time undisputed champion. He made some good money. At this point, he's a free player right now, I guess. He can do whatever.
Crawford's dominance has also caused a ripple effect in boxing, with fighters from other divisions eager to challenge him. Sebastian Fundora, known for his tall frame and aggressive style, has already said he wants a fight with Crawford. Many call this the Crawford effect. Once a fighter reaches the very top, others line up to test themselves against him, hoping to gain credibility. Instead of Crawford chasing big fights, opponents are now chasing him. This role reversal shows just how much power and influence Crawford holds in today's boxing.
Effect is in full effect, okay? It's in full effect. Terence Crawford now is a wanted man. Prior to that, everybody said Terence Crawford is not a draw. Terence Crawford can't sell. Terence Crawford is not a big money fight. Now, we have an interesting situation brewing. The former unified WBA, well, WBO, WBC, junior middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar or star boxer, the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, refused to fight Terence Bud Crawford, who is now, no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, the pound for pound king, 5-division world champion, 3-division undisputed world champion, with a record of 42 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout. When Terence Crawford dominated and stopped The Truth, Errol Spence Jr., in July of 2023, Terence Crawford petitioned to move up and fight the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, okay? And Sebastian Fundora has zero interest.
Shockley Foster admitted he was amazed by how Crawford silenced so many critics. For years, People claimed he hadn't fought enough elite opponents or might struggle at the very top, but his recent wins, especially against Canelo, proved that he could beat even the best champions. Foster said Crawford didn't just quiet the doubters, he set a new standard by proving himself under the brightest spotlight. For him, Crawford's journey is a lesson in persistence, turning years of skepticism into complete respect.
Yeah, I mean, shit. They definitely doubted, bro. And he told me months ago that he was gonna do that. And he went and did that. That shit, you know what I mean? And they doubted him a lot throughout his career, you know what I mean? Just a lot. And just a lot of people that I look at that's great fighters, they've been doubted. You know what I mean? Same thing with Floyd. Floyd, they had the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Shane Mosleys, the Trinidad, they all was putting them above Floyd and all this woo-de-woo. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like getting doubted is a great thing. It gives me, you know what I mean, that push. So, yeah.
You think it would look that, I ain't gonna call it easy, but I felt like people didn't think that Crawford could do it that clean. Did that surprise you?
No. It did surprise me that he stayed more disciplined. Like, I thought what was gonna happen was he was gonna do what he was doing, and then, you know, Terence got hard. He trying to bang it out, especially if he feel played enough. He feel like you feel like you doing something, he gonna come with his stuff. So I thought that was gonna be a problem. Like if Canelo landed a punch, he would try to go in the trenches with Canelo. And that's what I would have been scared for him for. But man, that boy stayed sharp all night, man. That boy looked good, man. I can't lie. He looked good. Sure. I was definitely surprised at how smooth, how easy he beat him.
Cobbs and Conor Benn reacted strongly to Crawford's win over Canelo. Cobbs called it a defining moment, while Benn went so far as to say Crawford could retire right now, ending his career on the perfect high note. Benn didn't mean this as criticism, but as recognition that Crawford has already completed everything a fighter could hope for. In his view, Crawford doesn't need to prove anything else. Even if he walked away today, he would still be remembered as one of the greatest ever. Their words show that Crawford's legacy is already secure.
To sail out on that beautiful sunset and retire. He's done a lot for the sport, and there's really not too much else that he can possibly do in the sport of boxing outside of make a beautiful retirement and leave a legacy of fighters that aspire to be just as great as Terence Crawford, like myself.
Has Canelo's legacy been damaged after that or not?
Not really. I think that Canelo is still a terrific and a fantastic athlete that's spent a little bit too much time at the table of boxing, and right now is his time to make his exit.
Everyone, though, sees Crawford as untouchable. Some analysts argue that beating Canelo, while historic, doesn't mean Crawford can't be beaten. They remind fans that boxing is full of other top-level fighters who could challenge him on the right night. For them, Crawford's win is amazing, but it doesn't make him unbeatable. The sport is unpredictable, and even legends can fall. This viewpoint is a reminder that while Crawford has reached incredible heights, boxing always brings new threats, keeping debates about his place in history alive.
In another division, that's not the move. If he goes back down there, he's the best guy in that division. I think it's safe to say that. But I do think that a lot of those guys will be very interesting and potentially difficult style matchups for him. They'll be more difficult than a Canelo fight. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but just go and look at the fight with Madrimov if you don't believe me. Long story short, beating Canelo Alvarez doesn't mean that Crawford is unstoppable or unbeatable. Yes, he's one of the best fighters of this division, one of the best fighters ever with his achievements, but it doesn't mean he won't lose before the end if he fights the wrong guy. At the very least, it doesn't mean he won't have a harder fight than that Canelo fight. And to finish this video, do I think that he's better than Floyd Mayweather? Do I think now that he would beat Floyd Mayweather if they were to compete at 147? Well, I think Crawford at 147 is the best Terence Crawford in terms of his attributes, his style, and the strength and power he has at the weight. I think he's probably unbeatable at 147 in this era. It's because he's going up the weight style we're even having this conversation, to be honest with you. But I do think he's an all-time great. I do think he's in the conversation, which is the best you can do, because we can't definitively say who'd be two in a fantasy match. That's why I really don't like them. I've been asked a few of them recently, and I just, without studying and then without actually getting the chance to see it, I just don't really like going there. But We'll do it at the end of this video anyway. It's definitely a conversation to have whether or not he's better than Floyd Mayweather, because he's done it without these rehydration clauses. He's done it. He hasn't really cherry-picked, although I would say, to be fair, look at Crawford's record. He has fought a lot of guys where it's been the very end of their career. Welter, you know, Sean Porter, Amir Khan, Kell Brook. They're all great names, but none of them were in their prime anymore. But Crawford did it so emphatically, and the way he beat Errol Spence as well. Again, he'd had his issues, but again, the way he did it so emphatically, the way he passes the eye test every single time, you have to assume that he's going to do it no matter who he's facing. I do think a fight between him and Mayweather would have been very, very difficult to call.